Well, look at this. This is the United States, and it is a Venezuelan gang, violent, notorious, who has taken over an apartment complex. This is security footage here. It's in a quiet suburb of Aurora, Colorado, a sanctuary city, though, just east of Denver. The group is members of the Tren de Agua. It's a prison gang from Venezuela, a vicious transnational gang. They're known for murder, drug trafficking, sex crimes, extortion, and also their MO is killing authorities like law enforcement, police officers. Today, in fact, the scare is actually widening in El Paso, Texas. They are on high alert after the gang, described as MS-13 on steroids, is actually infiltrating places there. Residents say that they lost their apartment building when illegals began moving in, and entire complexes are under gang control. This is what happens when you have open borders that Harris and Biden have allowed for the past several years. More on that in just a moment. And again, Donald Trump on the trail today. He's in Pennsylvania the second time since the attempt on his life in July. He'll be holding a rally in Johnstown. You're looking live there at the stage, which is set. It is down the road from Butler, where troubling new evidence about the shooter, Thomas Crooks, is being revealed. Let's take a closer look at that. It's a story that we are still following closely, unlike some of the legacy media. Pleased to have retired FBI Agent Bobby Chacon with us and former FBI agent and former Navy SEAL Jonathan Gilliam. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us today.
Good to be with you.
So
Thanks
here's
for having me.
what we know. The task force went to Butler. There's been a lot more information released this week in evidence photos. The same day he bought the ammo, we now know he bought a ladder, not found at the crime scene, 2 explosives he had prepared, not used. As this starts to sort of, widen out the picture, what is your read, Jonathan? I'll start with you on maybe what we're learning about the shooter, what we're learning about his plan, and how much worse it could have been, actually.
Well, what we know is not what concerns me as much as what we don't know, or what the FBI is, how the FBI is putting this information out. They release these pictures, and then they have a press conference and talk about things like detonation cord. But then in the conference, they say that detonation cord and the other things are all purchasable over the counter. I don't know what kind of det cord you can go out and just purchase. You have to have a license for it. So if that was a fuse or some type of M80 fuse, that's different than det cord. So their verbiage is wrong right off the bat. The way that the FBI has basically scorched earth and gone through and destroyed a lot of the evidence at that scene, knowing that other investigations were coming up, the way that the body was released and killed, those things that is the long-term troubling issue I'm having here, because as we find out more things about Crooks, which they are also downplaying, who he was talking to, what type of devices that he used and how he learned how to use them, they're downplaying all that stuff. At the same time, they secrete white supremacy into the narrative.
Of course.
And then they get on to people for wanting to look at more in that same press conference.
All right, Bobby, retired FBI, you know what should and should not be happening. Call it as you see it right now and pick up on some of those threads Jonathan just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see as much of a problem with as most people. I was on a crime scene team in the FBI for 19 years. 3 days is plenty time to process that scene. If you allege that they did something wrong in the processing of the scene, that's different. But the FBI doesn't have the responsibility to hold a crime scene for other people to come in. Congress knew this junior congressman that wrote the letter to the committee was fraught with inaccuracies and incorrections. He could have reached out to the FBI and asked them to hold the scene till he got there. The FBI did its job. They processed the scene, they got the evidence, and then we're not allowed to leave biological contaminants at a scene for other people to wander through and possibly get sick or ill or hurt. But you do kind of clean. You don't tidy up a scene, but certainly if there's biological contaminants, you collect them, you give them to your lab personnel to examine, and then you clean the scene so somebody else doesn't come along and either mess with it or get hurt.
I just think that the cremation of a body, if it's in a morgue, it just doesn't have to be so rushed if they're really trying to go. I mean, this is a huge case. This should be front page.
The FBI, we didn't release the body. The FBI did not release it. We don't have the body. The body, I recovered many bodies in my We turn them over to the medical examiner. We get the autopsy report and the toxicology. That's the only thing important to us. If someone else wants that body, they can contact the medical examiner and tell them to hold on to the body. The medical examiner released the body. They asked us.
I want to talk about. Right. I want to talk about this Tren de Agua as well, because this is incredible that not only are they here, there were warnings, a few weeks ago that they could be, flaring up. There was this, they might be shooting police officers. Jonathan, this is America today under Biden Harris. It's frightening to see this. I mean, we're worried about, safety in Aurora. What do you do if you're just sitting there and you live and this is your neighborhood? There's nothing you can do. These people are already here. It's a systemic problem that they have allowed and created. Final word to you, Jonathan.
Well, first of all, they're sitting in an environment that they created because of the people that they voted into office. That's the problem with Colorado. The same with the liberals that live all over Colorado and that have voted Joe Biden in. This is a result of their votes. So when people tell you that, oh, you're only just one vote, it doesn't really matter, or you should vote this way or that way, this is the reality when you don't do your research on the policies that people that are running for office have, or they don't have, and then this occurs.
And now it's El Paso, which is also a Democrat mayor as well.
Right. And I just want to say one other thing about that investigation with the FBI. One thing that they said yesterday that bothers me tremendously is they said it's not their job to investigate the Secret Service. Okay, so that may be true for things that the Secret Service does wrong, but overall, if there's a conspiracy that potentially, how did this guy get on the roof? Why was that threat assessment done so poorly? That is a part of the investigation, and they should be looking at that.
It sure is if they're the lead agency. All right, got to leave it there. Bobby, we'll have you back because we know there's more to dig into for this. We'll continue to watch it very closely. Bobby Chacon, Jonathan Gilliam, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Still ahead, marking 3 years since this